Well, good morning. My name is Tim Lankford, and I welcome you to our every Friday 11 a.m. conference call that we do right here from the Gordon campus here in central Indiana. Welcome doesn't share exactly my whole heart because it doesn't tell you about the plans I have for you. I've got plans. Boy, I've oftentimes been more dreaming about plans, and yet there can be no more concise plan to say that I want to see you prosper, that the plans that I have for you are never to harm you. These plans offer not only a hope, but a future. As you know from Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11, that comes from our Lord Jesus Christ, and that's my hope and my plans for you. This morning, very eager to be able to let you hear from a good friend of mine, somebody over these last few years. It's grown from an acquaintance to just a mutual admiration of how we do business, to counting Brandon as a friend, somebody whom I tremendously respect the business that he has built and the dedication and his love for our Lord that goes in to a lot of respect, to be very frank with you. Somebody who's stepping out saying, you know what, I want Lord to be first. I want my Lord to be first in my business. That tells you everything about somebody how they're going to deal with you. That it's going to be one of integrity, one of honesty, one of a person with character. This morning, I want to celebrate with you the video, the little caption that you see on your screen there. If you're joining us via your computer, you can still go there. All it takes is $60,000 of issue-paid business with one of our carriers through Gordon Marketing between now and December 31st. If you put $60,000 of issue-paid, it has to be issue-paid, so it can't be just submitted business, but it has to be issue-paid business. You'll go to Punta Cana. My wife and I enjoyed Punta Cana here just a few years ago, and one of the most special things about this business, of course, besides the ability to be able to make it happen in people's lives with families and mortgage protection and or our federal program, is the incentive trips. It was fun to be able to go to Punta Cana just like you will on our dime, the Gordon's dime. We take care of your airfare, we take care of your food, we take care of the hotel, couple excursions, all of that by $60,000 issue-paid dollars before the end of the year. My wife and I did it on, it was a combination of a couple carriers. If you've not been on a carrier trip yet, you still have now to the end of the year to get $80,000 issue-paid dollars to go on the Alaskan cruise. Phenomenal. Foresters will do a phenomenal job, as they have with a couple other trips that I've been on. So if you've not done that yet, do everything you can. Be focused to be able to join with some of the names that you're going to hear from Alicia. Alicia, my assistant, Alicia Brewer, will give us the list. Let me find her here, and I want you to hear, if your name is not listed, if you don't hear Alicia listing off your name, please text me, email me so that we can include you on this leaderboard. But this leaderboard will go over our live producers, and that will be inclusive of both the mortgage protection and the federal program, and those folks who are out there protecting people's what we call safe money. So if you're not writing annuities, think of the annuities on average about 5% all the way up to 8% on certain annuities. So when you hear Alicia talk about annuity producers, multiply that number, let's just say by 5%. So if they've written a $100,000 annuity, they're going to get a check sent back to them for $5,000. And then on the life side, it ranges everywhere from 50% to 100%. So safely you can say take that number that you hear on the life side, just cut it in half. Let's keep it simple. Just cut that number in half and listen to those who are making it happen. Alicia, would you be so kind to share our leaderboard this week?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Good morning. You're coming through great.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. We have some amazing numbers on the leaderboard this week, so I'm going to go ahead and get straight to it. First, I'll announce the top 6 annuity producers for the 3rd week of September, all with submitted annuities totaling over $100,000. At number 6, we have Gregory Greenwald, 2 annuities, $100,000. Number 5 is Josh Zettler, 1 annuity, $130,000. Number 4 is Jason Grossnickel, 2 annuities, $179,566. Number 3, Douglas Drees, 3 annuities, $180,000. Number 2, Bruce Pitts, 1 annuity, $250,694. And the number 1 top annuity producer for this week is Matt Chansey, 2 annuities, $320,000. Congrats to you, Matt, and to the rest of those top 6. Great job. So now we'll move on to the top 20 life producers for the 3rd week of September. All of these agents have written a minimum of $1,800 in business this week. In the number 20 spot, we have Paul Michael Young Mills, 2 applications, $1,845. Number 19, Brian Elston, 2 applications, $2,092. Number 18, Thomas Gopfrick, 1 application, $2,400. Number 17, Michael Licata, 1 application, $2,566. Number 16, Jay Teague, 3 applications, $2,634. At number 15, we have Todd Goodwin, 1 application, $2,648. Number 14, Todd Goodwin, 1 application, $2,808. Number 13, Millie Gailey, 2 applications, $2,831. Number 12, Riabarto Solares, 3 applications, $3,002. Number 11, Robert Fay, 1 application, $3,021. And now for your top 10. At number 10 is Dennis Harnahan, 2 applications, $3,404. John Kohler comes in at number 9 with 2 applications, $4,273 in annualized premium. Number 8, Matt Dordsky, 3 applications, $4,800. Number 7, Eric Coons, 5 applications, $5,010. Number 6, Josh Civic, 3 applications, $6,800. And now for the top 5 life producers for the week. Number 5, Thomas Faveda, 9 applications, $7,713. Number 4, Tim Lankford, 3 applications, $7,800. Number 3, Danielle Byrne, 10 applications, $8,818. Number 2, James Messer, 1 application, $10,000. And our number 1 top life producer for the 3rd week of September is Robert Peterson, 6 applications, an amazing $30,428. Wow, Robert, that's a great job. To the rest of the top 20 this week, we say congratulations as well. And as always, if you need to reach me, you can call me at 800-388-8342, extension 178, or you can email me at Elisha, and that's ELISHA, at gordonmarketing.com. Have a great day.
Terrific. Thank you, Elisha. Those are real numbers, guys. And you've got a lot of agents out there. If you know any of those names, just besides hearing it from me, because as you heard, I am still out there writing business also. Call a friend on the helpline. The helpline is that leaderboard. Stop talking to those who aren't on the leaderboard, getting advice from them, because clearly those aren't the people you want to be speaking to get advice. Call them, love them, ask them how the weather's going, but don't ask them how to do this business. Find out the people who are the top performers in your field of interest and get in their world. Find out what they're doing. I had David Haynes last week who rode with me. The week before, this next weekend, I've got Shauna English coming in from out of state, up from the Carolinas, coming to ride along with me. Go and sit with those people. find out what they're doing. This very next Tuesday, if you notice my little scratch on the board behind me, we're going to give a live presentation. It will be a live video feed of the in-home presentation for mortgage protection. There will be very few better persons to talk about that mortgage protection than who we have on the call this morning. Brandon has not only gone out and made, I tried without talking about income too much because sometimes the numbers just get washed away. Love leaderboards, but I want to speak specifically on Brandon's situation as far as with income. Did okay, you know, a couple months or a couple of decent times on the leaderboard, came in, started doing, you know, making $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 that he started to be able to write business. But where his gift is really at, where the Lord really has blessed him, is to be able to take the mantle and to be able to teach others. So he's had the experience of going out and writing, you know, $1,000, $2,000 in a week. And now where his blessing, how he's blessing the families in the field of writing mortgage protection is by building a team. So I want Brandon to really be able to share from you in this same week, 2 days ago. And I've had a few people call back in and say, hey, I didn't get your in-home presentation script, kind of some of the things that you see on the table here. I will send that out to everyone who was registered for Tuesday's webinar. So I'll send that back out again today. If you missed it, you will have it by the end of today. This next Tuesday, you'll get an email, and it will be a live presentation of me sitting in front of 2 live persons, and just listen for transitions, listen for and watch. This isn't an over the telephone sale. This is a kneecap to kneecap, eyeball to eyeball type of presentation, both on the mortgage protection side or final expense if you're doing that, as well as on the federal employee benefit program. Critical that you're watching the reaction to Brendan's going to be able to talk to you about how that he had to make that connection. Let me stop talking about Brandon, and we're not able to connect via the conference, so he is ready for me to call him on his cell phone here, and we'll listen to Brandon. Hopefully it'll come through. Usually comes through. All right, Brandon, are you hearing me okay?
I am hearing you just fine, brother.
Fantastic. Hopefully everyone is hearing you fine. Also, if you can, a couple of you, if you don't mind, just let me hear a note, and I will turn up the volume if I need to. But you've been in those homes. You know how it is when you're sitting with someone and you are, you couldn't do this over the phone. Could you, Brandon? Maybe that's an unfair question. Can you do this over the phone?
Oh, man, I honestly don't know how you could do it over the phone, because for me, man, that face-to-face, kneecap to kneecap, human interaction is where the magic is. So, you know, to answer your question, could it ever be done over the phone? Maybe 1 in 100, but I'd much rather close about 80 or 90% like I do. So.
I wholeheartely agree. So this last week we were talking about how to set up the home and all the components that work in your favor. I guess is maybe not that you're trying to manipulate the client, but you are sometimes having to get the client out of themselves, out of their comfort zone, because they're, you know, we're going in and they don't know us, and they're already made the, you know, the correct assumption that we don't come out of that house with them signing a piece of paper. They're not protected. So how do you demystify or try to maybe help them calm down a little bit, make that connection without just saying, hey, I'm here for the sale?
Right. Well, that's a good question, and it's funny that this is what the conference call was going to be about today, and then we were obviously talking about that, because in our business, figuring out the presentation is the trick, or that's where the magic is. Okay, that's where the money's made, if you will. And then, as Tim alluded to, once you figure out how to go in and make the money, then when you start being able to teach people to do that, then that's when you really are able to start making that money that's not linked to your daily activity. And then even beyond that, when you learn how to teach people, that's when the money starts getting crazy. And that is the phase that I'm actually in right now, trying to learn how to teach people to teach people. And you know, it's just a fun place to be. This business, what I love about it is once it goes way beyond the kitchen table, but everything starts at the kitchen table. Even going into building a humongous agency, if that's what you're aspiring to do, it starts with you learning how to connect with that client at the table. So one thing I do want to say too, Tim, I love what you said at the beginning. If you want to make a lot of money, you know, talk to people on the leaderboard. And if they're not on the leaderboard, not that they're bad people, we're still going to love them, but that's not who you want to talk to. So that's the simple concept of that is if you want to drive a Ferrari, don't talk to somebody who drives a Toyota. It's that simple. So, so one thing I want to talk about, Tim, before I go into actually, like I'll go into pretty good detail about actually the things that I do in the home and what I teach my agents to do. But one thing I do want to talk about real quick is about mindset. And you know, and this goes to this mindset. That what I'm going to talk about right now can apply to everything in our business. Dialing the phone, you know, and then in turn going into the home, and this can also be applied to everything outside of your life. So the reason I think that I know a lot about this subject is because where I came from a very dark place over 3.5 years ago. And last time I was on the call, I kind of alluded to some of that stuff and gave a brief story of a brief synopsis of my story. But just so you know, I came from a dark place. And in order to get out of that place, I had to literally change the way I thought. I think it's Romans 12:2, where it says, "Be ye not conformed to the world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind." So the Bible backs up the things that I'm about to talk about right now. Now, in our business, I will say that the single most important thing that you will master is mindset. Okay, because, and this is whenever I hire a new agent and I'm connecting with them, you know, one of the first things that I start getting them to do is reading certain books, doing that stuff. And I know the people that do that, when I say, hey, read this book, and then they come back at me and they're asking me questions about the book and stuff, I know they're going to make it. Now, I want to point out, I didn't say anything about in-home presentation. I didn't say anything about, you know, product knowledge or all that stuff that the new people get caught up with. That's not what we focus on in the very beginning. Now, of course, you need to have product knowledge. Of course, we need to work on the in-home presentation. But that is secondary to getting your mind right. Because if your mind ain't right, it doesn't matter. You're not going to have any appointments to go to. So it's that simple. So once you listen, your mindset or your mind is the only thing that God gave us complete and total control over. It's the only thing. All right, everything else, if you think about it, you know, it's kind of out of our realm of control. But your mindset, how you think, what goes into your brain, which in turn determines what comes out of your brain, is 100% controlled by you. Okay, God gave us control of that because that is where the idea of free will comes from. It comes from what you think about, what do you put in your brain. So for me, you know, this morning I got up and did my Bible study first thing, because what that does for me is it lays the foundation for the day. So no matter if I go on 8 appointments and get shut down on all 8, which I hope that doesn't happen, right now or today, but you know, because I'm hoping I'm doing a little better than 0 for 8 now, but it has happened before. And the fact that I got up and did my Bible study that morning, I was okay. I was able to make it. All right. So to go on, good mindset will allow you to persevere through tough times. And then, you know, and listen, if you're a new agent or even if you're an experienced agent, there's times coming that are going to be trying. Okay, that's what, you know, it's just like Jesus told the disciples. He said, you know, in this world you will have trouble, but don't worry, because I've overcome the world. All right, so linking, listen, and this is it I'm going to say about mindset. Linking your why, while you're doing this, to a good mindset will be the deciding factor of the level of success that you reach and the speed at which you get there. Okay, and I'll tell you right now, I have experienced some decent success in the business. You know, I still have a long ways to go, a lot of stuff to learn, but I feel like I've gotten there fairly quickly, and I'll tell you why. It's because I solely focused on personal growth above everything else. Not above my relationship with God, but that's intertwined with my personal growth. So I focused on that number one, and everything else fell into place. So I will definitely give you that advice, because there's an old proverb that says, if there's no enemy within, then the enemy outside can do us no harm. All right, so moving on into the in-home presentation, but the reason I say that is because the first thing I'm going to do when I pull up to that house, I'm gonna start telling myself that I'm the best person to go in here and help this family. Like I'm saying this stuff verbally out loud. Like if the client is in the house looking out the window looking at me, I probably look like a weirdo, just so you know. But I make lots of sales, so I don't care what I look like. So I start talking to myself verbally out loud. Hey, I'm the best person to go into this house. I'm the best person that can be helping this family. They sent a letter to me saying they wanted me to come over here, and then I called them and they invited me into their home. There's no way they're not going to do business with me. So I am speaking into existence what's going to happen in that house already. Okay, so I definitely, what you got to understand is that the path of your life will follow your words, no matter if they're good or bad. If they're bad words, it's going to do that. Okay, if you're walking in there thinking that you're not going to make a sale, you're not going to. Okay, and then, so then I one of the first things I do is I get, go up to the door and I just, I'm dressed in slacks and a polo. It doesn't really, I don't know what you guys are, if you guys have a uniform dress code that you kind of go by or whatever, but I feel like we need to look professional and not in a suit though, because nobody buys people in a suit anymore. But I do feel like you need to be, professional looking. And so I walk up there, I'm looking professional. I've got my bag on my shoulder. And it's not like they don't know why I'm there. I'm coming there to, don't try to think that you have to like kind of hide the reason that we're there. We're not talking about insurance. I mean, that's what they invited me over there to talk about. So I'm going to, greet them and all that stuff. And then, I know that you guys have heard this a million times, but we're gonna start with building some rapport with the client. We're gonna start with talking with them about things that we may have in common, or not necessarily even that we have in common, things that you may see in the house. Now, this as a new agent, just so you know, this is something that you'll get good at and that you'll learn. So don't just understand that it's a process to get really good at building rapport. Now, some people it's easy to build rapport with. Okay, they come in, they're inviting, and they're easy to talk to, and those people are fun, so those are the easy ones. But then some people are just weird. Okay, they're weird. You can't really have anything in common with them, and it's just you really have to try to build rapport. Now in those cases, I will say if somebody's being really cold to me, there's a couple things that I might do. Okay, one thing that I may do is I may go ahead and get down to business. Okay. And I know that sounds maybe a little bit odd, but maybe I'll just start talking about why I'm there because that's probably why they're being cold. They just want to talk about that. But what will happen is as I'm talking about that, they'll lower their shoulders and then I'll swoop back in there and get back into the rapport. Because this is the thing. If you do not connect with that client, and I'm talking about connect like on a personal level, okay, then it's going to be tough for you to make a sale with that client. Because of the fact that people do business with people that they trust, and if you don't connect with them, then they don't trust you. Okay, so if you're in houses and you're getting, I want to think about it a lot, or they don't want to give you a check, like that's all indications of that they don't trust you. All right, so you need to work on your rapport more is what I would say. So I'll give you an example real quick of a guy who was just being cold and he would not give me rapport. Now I'm pretty bold in the house. I think Tim actually put that in the email. I'm very bold in the house. Okay, and I don't mean rude or disrespectful. I'm not rude or disrespectful, but I do not mind asking hard questions because this is the deal. What we do for families, okay, is literally we are literally protecting the American dream. Okay, if you think about it like that and put yourself on that sort of platform and understand how important what you're doing is, then you won't have trouble asking bold questions either. All right, and one experience that I had with a client, I went in and he was just being cold to me. We were not connecting. I was trying. I was asking about things. I was just really trying. And then finally, I realized I wasn't getting it. So I looked at him right in his face and I said, "Man, we're not really jiving, man." And he was like, "What, dude?" I was like, "Yeah, we're not really connecting. I'm trying to like get to know you a little bit because I want to help you with this, but I already know because I have a lot of experience in this business that if I can't get to know you a little bit, I ain't gonna be able to help you, man." And I was like, "I'm just here to help you. That's why you invited me over, right?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then he just kind of chuckled and he was kind of surprised, that I guess been so bold. But I didn't know what else to do because, there was no point in me giving a presentation the way this guy was acting. And so, I don't know. The next thing that happened was I mentioned something about God. Okay, and this was God obviously working about it, and he was a Christian. Okay, so boom, right there, we connected. Okay, and then we went in to talk about real estate, and I went and talked about how much I was about to get into real estate and stuff like that. And I hope God will forgive me for this, but I wasn't about to get into real estate at the time. And but the thing was is that he was so in love with what he was talking about. I knew if I connected with him on that level that we would make it happen that day, and we did. And I wrote him and his wife both policies that day, and they're still on the books today. And made about $1,500 sitting in the house that day. So I use that as an example because if I hadn't have been bold and just called the guy out a little bit, then we wouldn't have ever gotten there. Okay, and so I'm telling you, be bold, do what you got to do to connect with the client. It's okay. Like if you can't connect and they're like just not getting there, you're probably not going to be able to help them anyways. So just call it out there. I mean, what do you got to lose? You know what I mean? Besides 30 minutes of your time when you could be out knocking on a door or something and getting yourself in a position to get somebody who really wants to hear from you. So that's my philosophy on that. So once you have connected, okay, and listen, some people say, you got to talk for 20 or 30 minutes. That's not true. If you may be able to connect with this client in 5 minutes, okay? If you connect in 5 minutes, then keep moving, okay? Because you can't connect too much, if that makes sense. Because what happens, and I've done this before as well, if you connect too much and you become a really good friend, it's easy to tell your friend no, okay? It's easy to tell your friend that you need a few days to think about it or whatever. So understand that there's a balance, okay? Connect with the client, but the bottom line is that you're there to help them with their mortgage protection, not become their best friend. Now, we want to be their friend, we want to be their clients for life, but this is a business transaction, okay? So once you connect and once you start getting rapport and all that, then I'm going to kind of get down to business, and what I tell them, this is exactly what I say. I explain to them who I am, and I tell them I'm the mortgage protection specialist that works in their county. And once they mail that letter back, it's my job to come sit down with them and then specifically tailor a plan for their specific needs that fits budget and accomplishes their goal. And then I say how I'm going to do that is I'm going to start by asking you some questions about your life and kind of your position in life right now, which will in turn determine kind of what plan we need to go with. Because I say there's a million different ways to skin the cat. But the thing is what I'm going to help you do is I'm going to help you decide on the perfect way to do it. All right, and I'll say kind of think of me like a photographer. So I'm going to take a picture of your current situation today. All right, and then I'm going to take pictures 5, 10, 20 years down the road, and I'm just going to make sure we're always smiling in those pictures. Does that make sense? And they'll laugh and smile, and then we'll keep moving. So then I ask at that point, I'm going to ask them, about the mortgage, how many years is it, do they plan to pay on it that long, and then how much life insurance do they have, and one thing I will point out, everybody that has work insurance, they think that's like, they think work insurance is like the best thing ever, and it is the best thing ever price-wise, okay? It's the cheapest thing you'll ever get it. So a lot of times at the end of your presentation, people will say, hey, I'm just going to use my work insurance, to cover this. Okay, so how I eliminate that objection right away is I'll say, okay, so cool, you have work insurance, that's good. I'm glad that you have that, it's the cheapest you'll ever get it. I'll say, now, have you maxed that out? Have you maxed out the amount of work insurance that you can get? And either they'll say yes or they'll say no, or they don't know. And I'll say, well, listen, you need to go into work tomorrow and max that out. Get as much as you possibly can at work because this is the cheapest you'll ever get it. But let me tell you about work insurance. It's a group coverage. Do you understand what that means? And then I just be quiet and try to get them to explain it back to me. If they can't explain it back to me, then I'll say, well, what it means is if you're not part of the group, then you don't have that coverage. So that means if you became disabled or retired or anything, you lose all that coverage. Do you understand that? And they say, yeah. I say, yeah. So it's great to have it while you're working, but you're not planning on dying while you're working, right? Okay, cool. So that's why having something outside of work, that is not, determined by whether you work there or not, is to your advantage. And I just get them to understand that right then, so that later on they're not going to say, hey, I can get more insurance at work. They can't say that because I just told them to go max it out. Okay, so that's how I kind of deal with that objection early. That's a very common thing in our business, and that's why I'm bringing that up. So Then I will keep moving on through the appointment and, just asking them questions, finding out. And then obviously the most important thing that we're going to do is find out, their medical history or the current medications, and then kind of fill out what are we going to qualify for. Okay, because once you get, into the business for quite some time, you're going to know right away when you hear certain medicines that whether they're not going to be accepted on term and stuff like that. So, as you guys know, I don't know exactly how you guys teach the other plan, besides term, but we call it a payment protection plan, and where we use like the final expense product to protect a certain amount of payments. So, the reason I bring that up is that's going to be what plan I'm going to present to them is going to be determined by their health. Okay, so the reason I bring that up right now is oftentimes new agents especially will shoot themselves in the foot because they will sell them on a product that they actually don't qualify for. Okay, and if they get declined and then you have to go back to them and show them a different plan that is, obviously if they're unhealthy it's going to be a lesser plan, I'm telling you right now, you're going to lose, I don't know the exact numbers. You're going to lose 7 out of 10 of those probably. And it's just because people want what they can't have. Okay? That's the bottom line. So in an appointment, make sure. Because when I go into an appointment and I start talking, when I start presenting the plan to them, I'm telling you right now, I have a formula in my head and I have 100% decided that number one, they can qualify for this, and number two, it is the absolute best thing that this family could be getting to protect their mortgage. Okay? Now let me tell you something. If you convince yourself of that before you present the plan, all right, when they start giving some objections towards the end, it's easy for you to overcome those objections because in your mind, you are 100% convinced it's the best thing they could possibly do. Okay? So now listen, you will work up to that sort of mindset in a house, okay? Because you have to get familiar with the stuff if you're a new agent and stuff like that. It takes a little bit of time. But once you get there, that's what you should be working towards because you should know that what you're recommending to that client is the best thing they could possibly have that you have to offer. And not only that, it's the best thing they could possibly get for their family. Because, guys, if you're thinking that in your head, you're going to relay that through your body language. Okay, you're going to relay that through your facial expressions and all the things that really matter in a face-to-face interaction. Okay, sales is nothing but a transfer of a feeling. That's all we're doing. All right, we're trying to transfer how we feel about something into the mind of the client. That's all you're doing. So I'm telling you right now, you will transfer whatever you're thinking. If you're thinking they're not going to buy, they're not going to. Every single time, I promise. So that's why I talk about that mindset thing in the beginning because it is the most important thing that you'll master because that will start coming into play when you're at this point in the presentation. Okay, so now we've decided what plan that we're going to give them, okay? And so, it's not that they do have options and I will show them pretty much anything they want to see, but this is the deal. I know more than them about mortgage protection, okay? And so do you. I know more than they do. Now, they will try to convince you that they know all this and they know that, but they don't, okay? Because if they did, they would not have sent a letter in for you to come over and help them with the mortgage protection, okay? So people will try to convince you how smart they are and everything, and I'm not going to be rude to them. I say, oh, yeah, man, you're the smartest person I ever met. But, I know that I know more than they do about mortgage protection, okay? So with that being said, guys, you have to be able to really get them to trust you from a professional level where they listen to what you say. Okay, and if you've done your job well in the beginning, they're going to. Okay, so after that, it's just, presenting the information correctly and asking the right questions. Okay, so then once you have decided what the best thing for them to do, now there's a lot of different ways to close, just so you know, and I'll just name a few of them. But the one that I use about every single time is the 3-option close. I'm going to give them 3 options, okay? And throughout the appointment, if they're, like, for example, I had a new agent in a house yesterday. She's calling me from the house. She's out in Texas. And she had a 64-year-old and a 62-year-old. They both had big mortgages, okay, both 30-year mortgages. Okay, so she's already calling me talking about a 30-year term. And as you guys already know, most places will not do, what we have available to us will not do 30-year term on a 60-something-year-old. They'll do a 15-year. So automatically, if I was in that appointment, I would have known to go ahead and start positioning them to take less years and explain to them the benefits of doing that. Okay, because it's the only thing they're eligible for. That's the only thing they can get. So But the thing is, don't tell them they can't get a 30-year. I'm telling you that right now, because people want what they can't have, and if you tell somebody they can't get that, the first thing they're going to want is that. All right, so don't shoot yourself in the foot by telling them they can't get something. Like, for example, if I have a 70-year-old that has a $300,000 mortgage that they want to, they're saying, I want to cover the whole thing. I know it's going to be as much as the mortgage payment to cover it. I'll say, yeah, man, absolutely, we can definitely do that, but it's going to be, probably $1,000 a month. You know what I mean? So, and then automatically what that does is it lets them have that option in their mind, but they're like, man, I'm not paying $1,000 a month. I'll be like, hey, man, don't worry about it. Nobody does that at your age. So we actually have plans that are specifically designed for people that are over 65. Okay, so the good news is we're going to still help you cover your mortgage, but we're going to do it within range of budget. So don't worry about the $1,000 a month, man. So what that does is it just lets them know they could get it, okay, even if they can't get it. And so that kind of eliminates that desire to have something you can't have. Okay. So once I showed them the options, during the appointment, I'm not acting like I'm acting like the whole time. It's called the assumptive close. I guess that's what we call that. But assuming the sale, I'm going to talk to them the whole time like we're doing this today. I mean, that's what I'm here to do. I came over here to fill out an application. That's what I came over here to do. And if you have that attitude, even if they're kind of resistant towards that in the beginning, you maintaining that mindset and maintaining that attitude, I sit around. And then they'll get on board, and they usually will do it. I mean, you're not going to close 100%, but I'm telling you right now, I close 80 or 90% of the people I sit down with. And it's simply because of confidence. So anyways, now we're at the end of the appointment, and I push the options in front of them, and then I just say, hey man, which option best fits your budget? Okay, I don't say how much coverage you want or whatever. You can say whatever you want, but I'm just telling you what I do. I say which one's the best, because all they care about is how much it costs at the end of the day. So then I just tell them to, I put a pen in front of them, I click it open. Okay, that comes from a book called The Psychology of the Sale. Clicking it is a call to action, subconsciously. Okay, so I click the pen open, I set it in front of them, I say circle which one fits budget. Okay, and then they circle one, but as they're looking at the paper, I'm getting out the application. All right, and I'm going to say, how tall are you, Mr. Jones? So I'm going to start asking questions. I'm assuming that we're doing this, okay? And so what that does is if he starts saying, oh, well, no, hold on, I don't want to do anything today. I'm like, hey, Mr. Jones, we're not taking any money today, so go ahead and take your hand off your wallet. It's okay, I don't want your money, man. But, we got to go ahead and lock in your current situation because you already said earlier in the appointment, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, and the reason you sent that letter in is just in case something did happen, you wanted to have some information to make sure that, your family was protected. That's what you told me. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to do for you what I do for everybody else. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to send off the paperwork and get you qualified and approved. And, and this is only if they resist, okay? This is like, you don't always bring up, that we're just doing that. Most of the time I'm going like, hey, we're getting this, okay? But if they start resisting, it's okay to say, hey, we're not taking any money today. We just need to send the application off because that's exactly what we're doing. That's all we can do. And so anyways, guys, that is, in a nutshell, that is what I do in the appointment. And the only thing that I have left is just the post-close. So, you really want to nail that sale down. And how you do that, in my post-close, I want them to sell that policy back to me 3 times. Okay, I want them to sell me while they're doing that. And if they give me any resistance, the first thing I'll say is, Mr. Jones, man, I know, when I came in here, you definitely weren't planning on making a decision today. I could kind of feel that from you. And I say, but hey, listen, we found something that makes sense. You just told me to fit budget. We need to see if we can get you approved for it. So how do you feel about that? You feel pretty good about that? And they'll say, yeah. I'll say, okay, so do you see the value that it does for your family? Or do you see what it provides for your family if you pass away? And he'll say, yeah. And if I feel like he didn't really get that, I'm going to say, well, explain to me the value. You know what I mean? And then I'll say, all right. And the last thing I'll say is, all right, so that $58 a month that you just got, you're going to still be able to eat, right? Okay, like if tomorrow if you need new tires on your car, you're not going to have to choose between tires and insurance. Is that where we're at with budget? I was like, because this can't be something that you can think about. Because we can change this right now, man. We can change it right now. And so what that does, guys, is it just kind of nails down your sale. It's going to prevent a lot of chargebacks because because if they told you they can afford it and it doesn't matter what happens in their life, they're still going to be able to afford it. Most people won't call you and say, hey, something happened, I can't afford this now, because they already told you they would. They don't want to lie to you. You know what I mean? So it just holds them accountable, and a lot of times it'll keep policies on the books. But guys, I'm telling you right now, if you just go in, you don't have to be the best salesman in the world. You don't have to have all the magic tricks. It's no magic, okay? Go in there, make somebody like you and trust you, ask them some questions, figure out what they need, and just show them a product that helps them with that. That's it. It's real simple, man. So just go in there and do that. I assure you that you will make tons of money in our business, and then if you start learning how to teach people to do that, then you will make over $1 million, no doubt. Tim, that's all I got, man. I really appreciate it.
Fantastic, Brandon. No, you're on it. And the email, you saw the email that I sent out. I emphasize that you're real. You're not trying to mince words. You're not going in there trying to just become their best buddy. Like you said, a friend will be easy to say, oh no, never mind. But you're going in there with a connection, but not trying to be their buddy. You're still going in. I love your part, that what I call the white elephant in the room. We have to call it when somebody's sitting across the table and they've got their arms folded and they're kind of puffing out their chest. You're immediately going to that, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm putting that out on the front, on the table right away.
If they've got a big, huge white elephant in the dining room, you don't talk about it. They're gonna either think that we're completely clueless, or we're just there to be so polite and so politically correct that we want to make sure not to ever ask anyone to sign a piece of paper, right?
Exactly. And like I said, man, listen, just move on, go. You got more people to go talk to. We got people to door knock and do all that stuff. Go talk to somebody else. It's fine.
Amen. Amen. I've had a couple questions that have come up, and if you have still a few seconds here, a few more minutes to be able to address a couple questions.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
We've had a couple of agents who have asked, how do you handle the I want to think about it?
Man, I love that one. Okay, so I want to think about it originates early on in the appointment. Okay, so I'm glad they said that, because I actually meant to address that objection as well. So let me tell you how to first of all not get I want to think about it, and then I'll tell you if you do get it, what to say then. So it starts early on in the appointment by me talking about, I explain the process to people. Before I show them a price, I explain to them how this works. I'll say, okay, so do you know how this works? Have you ever applied for anything like this before? So once again, I'm assuming that we're applying for something today, and they say no, then I'll say, all right, cool, so this is how it works. Today I'm going to fill out an application, and they're going to take all your information. They're going to take your bank account information that you want to associate with the policy, all that good stuff. We're going to send it off to the insurance company, and we're going to get it approved. Now that's going to take 5 days or so to get that done, and then they're going to send you out a policy in the mail, and then you have, in my state, it's a 20-day free look period. And I would just explain to them about that. So then what that does, guys, and then I'll say, do you know what a free look period is? Okay, and then they'll say no or yes. But what I'll say is during that period of time, you can make any changes to the policy that you want to make. Okay, and I do not say that you can cancel the policy. Okay, just so you know, don't say that. Just say that you can make any changes to the policy you want to make. So what that does is it just kind of lets their shoulders down. They're like, oh, okay. So it just gets them in a position to be able to do business with them today. All right, and then the second thing that eliminates the I want to think about it, okay, that is finding the pain. Okay, so if you do not find the pain, all right, you're going to get I want to think about it a lot, because people think that they have time to think about it. But for me, during my appointment, I'm going to reference some different situations. I'm going to reference a couple that I sat down with. This is a real life reference too, so if you don't have one, you can use this one. But I went and sat down with a couple on Friday night. All right, they said they wanted to think about it. I was a young agent. I did not overcome it. I said, okay, cool. How many you want to think about it over the weekend? They were like, yep. So I said I found them for Monday. All right, I went back on Monday at 5 o'clock. The husband answered the door. The wife was dead. Okay, she had died from an epileptic seizure over the weekend. All right, so if that ever happens to you, I'm telling you right now, you'll make somebody kick you out of their house if they say, I want to think about it. Okay, because you already know that their wife may die over the weekend and she died with no coverage. Okay, and so like I said, if you don't have a story, use that one. But it's a real life example of what can happen if they try to think about it. So if you find that pain and you hammer down on that pain, then later on in the appointment, when they're not going to say, I want to think about it, and if you call it out there and have the wife tell you, like for me, I'm going to kill the husband off, and I'm going to have the wife tell me what's going to happen. And then if he starts talking, I'll say, hey, Mr. Jones, hold on a second, buddy. You're taking a dirt nap. You can't talk. Okay? You're dead. And so what that does is it makes it real. You know what I mean? It makes it real for her, and then she explains what's going to happen. So what that does, it really brings that pain out front. Now, if you do get, I want to think about it, say, hey, I would be disturbed if you didn't want to think about it. Okay? Now, I'm going to do for you what I do for everybody else. I'm going to go ahead and get you, qualified and approved for the plan, and then you're going to get your policy in the mail, and then that's when I bring up the free look period again. I'll say you have 20 days. Once you receive the policy in the mail to think about it, and I don't even know how you could even make an educated decision without even seeing the policy. That's the first thing we need to get. And we got to even see if we're eligible for it. And then I bring up the fact that, hey, we need to go ahead and lock your current situation is, because, you're probably not going to die for sure, but we do know that we're going to go drive tomorrow, and that we can't predict anything on the road as far as what may happen there. So, the good news is if we fill out this application today, we'll go ahead and lock in that, so no matter what happens, you'll have coverage while you're thinking about it. So, would you rather have coverage while you're thinking about it or not have coverage while you're thinking about it?
I like it.
So
that's perfect. That's perfect. If somebody is they've got all the buying signals, and yet they end up coming right up to the end, and they what do you stop? We've got another agent saying that he should know better, but what do you say when the spouse says, I've got to verify with my wife? How do you prevent that?
Well, you don't go sit down without the wife there. That's the number one thing.
There you go. Okay.
but I have had a one-legger before where she kind of surprised me. I didn't realize she had a spouse, and she said that. She said, I need to talk with her husband. And I looked out and I saw a boat in the driveway. Okay. And I looked out there and I said, man, it's a nice boat out there in the driveway. She said, whose boat is that? She said, that's my husband's. I said, did he call you before you got that boat? And she was like, no, he didn't. So you need to call him about a $58 decision. She was like, actually, no, I don't. Get the application out. I was like,
we want to create marital harmony, though, right? We do want to create.
No, you can't. I'm telling you right now, if you don't have both of them there, I won't sit down with them. I'm coming back.
Exactly.
If you don't have both of them there to bring that pain out, it has no effect on one or the other by themselves. You have to bring the pain out together, for sure.
We've got some newer agents on the webinar with us. What did you mean by one-legged?
One-leggers is a married couple that only one of them is there.
Perfect. Perfect. And we really satisfy that with setting up the appointment. So maybe this person hasn't heard that webinar from me yet, talking about how that you find out if they have a significant other, not even just married, but a significant other. How do you do that on the phone?
So sometimes on the link you'll see a co-borrower's name, so that's easy to figure out that they've got somebody else there. But sometimes they won't. So what happens is if you start as a new agent, you'll mess up and you won't say this, and you'll go there and then you'll try to make the sale with one person there, and you'll keep shooting yourself in the foot. All right, so you'll quit. So what happens is you'll start asking the right questions on the call. So when I call them, I'm going to set the appointment up, and then at the end of the call, or actually I'll say, during the call, just say, hey, are you married, or is it just you, or do you have a boyfriend or fiance that needs to hear this too, that has any sort of liability with the house? And so that just brings it out right there, and that just gets them to tell me what's going on. So if they do, then then obviously I'm going to find a time with both of them right now.
Perfect, perfect. I like, does anybody else contribute to the paying the bills in the house? I like that. I like that a lot. Another agent was asking about how do you go about, and guys, if you haven't realized this, I'm reading from off of the screen, off of questions that agents are sending in. So that little key that you opened up to get on to GoToWebinar has a spot on there that says questions. So you can undock that instead of the little square that you have on your key. You can actually undock that off to the right of the question, the word question, and type out a good full question. So and that's why we do this platform. Instead of just a conference call, we try to mute and unmute. This is such a much more sensible way to be able to get your questions answered. So with that being said, Brandon, I have another agent here asking about the 3 quotes. How do you go about the three quotes, and we've got something similar to the in-home that I promote, but I want people to speak, and guys, everything that you hear coming out of my office is suggesting you to do business this way. Brandon is building business a little bit different, but having phenomenal results. We want to tweak each other to make it better, but as you can see, I talk about 3 quotes with an accidental and 3 quotes with a what I call a full value. Brandon's going right in talking about 3 quotes from the full value. How do you do that, Brandon?
Okay, so and this is and Tim, to be honest with you, we will do exactly what you just said too sometimes. But for a new agent, I try to keep it as simple as possible. I'm like, throw 3 out there, and how I choose those 3. A lot of times they're calling me from the house before we're giving any numbers. Okay, so I'm going to decide based on the information that they have given me where to kind of go with the quotes. But this is the deal: you want to. A lot of times we'll throw the full house out there. Okay, we'll throw whatever protecting the home mortgage is. All right, and then after that, I'll walk it down. Maybe let's just say the home mortgage is 242. So we'll throw 242 out there, and then I'll walk it down to maybe 200 and then 150. And so what I'm doing is and I'll say this when I push it in front of them. I'll say, I just want to give you a gauge of kind of where we're at as far as price-wise, and we can go anywhere you need to go from here. So just leave the table open for them to say, well, what about this or what about that? That's fine. But more than likely, you want to choose 3 options, and they're most of the time going to pick the one in the middle, just so you know.
Perfect, perfect. And I'll even complement that by saying, if you want to make sure to every time include an accidental, include a full value, pick 75% of the mortgage and give them 1 price for the accidental, 1 price for the full value. In other words, the simplified issue term that includes accidental in it too, and say, in total, $20 here for accidental, $75 for full value. How does that $95 fit into your budget? And then let them, well, why is it only 75% of the mortgage? Now we can go up and down. But what Brandon's emphasizing here is talk about options. Always talk about options, so you're not trying to corner somebody, but let them feel like, oh, wait a minute, if I don't do the full 100%, I'm not a bonehead in front of my wife. So there's a lot of more psychology behind that.
Yes.
Brandon, if you're good with time, just a couple more questions.
Sure.
Fred is asking about if they say that they've never make a decision on anything right away. How do you overcome that?
Basically, I just say, hey, man, neither do I. And like I said, I'd be kind of troubled if you did. I was like, what you're deciding to do today, Mr. Jones, all you're deciding to do is that, because if we're at this point, just so you know, guys, we've created value, I've found pain, and we are trying to make a sale, okay? So if there's no pain, I'm already gone, you know what I'm saying? They call me Nicolas Cage because I'll be gone in 60 seconds, but because I'm going on to the next one. But in the case where I'm actually at this point with them, I'll say all you're deciding to do, Mr. Jones, is you're just deciding to make sure that in case something crazy happens tomorrow, that we're basing your eligibility on this program by your current situation, by what we are today. Right? That's all you're deciding to do. You're not giving me any money. You're not doing any of that. All you're doing is deciding to lock in your current situation and make sure that in the event something crazy happened, you're not leaving your family high and dry. And that's why I'm sitting here, right, Mr. Jones?
Perfect. And then how do you transition from that and still collect a voided check or a check for the premium?
Sure. And usually what I'll say, because I'll tell you right now, the check is something that I get out in the beginning. I'm going to talk about needing a voided check. I'm going to talk about bank account drafting. I'm going to talk about all that stuff because as new agents, a lot of times they struggle with that and they bring it out at the very end and they're like in their mind, they're like, God, please give me a voided check. And you can't do that. If you're going to get the voided check objection, then you need to get that early on in the game. So if I like you just asked, Tim, so I'm going to say, all you're making a decision to do is get qualified and approved, and I'll say, now they're going to need all your information, Mr. Jones. They're going to need a bank account and all that stuff that you're going to associate it with. I was like, listen, this is the deal. You have complete control over the drafting of your bank account. Now, we can do it upon approval, which is what most people do, or you can actually pick a day that you want them to draft it out of your account. I was like, and then at that point, I will bring up the free look period and just say, hey, listen, if you decide it's something that doesn't make sense for you, if you get the policy and it's different than what I'm telling you today or whatever, you have a free look period that gives you the luxury of sending the policy back and getting your money back. So now, listen, I want to point out something. That is last resort. Okay, we're not doing that unless we just have to. But sometimes we got to push people. You know what I mean? Sometimes we do.
Perfect. No, absolutely perfect. Sometimes it's getting people out of their comfort zone, right? Into what we know is the right thing to do. And then maybe we'll close with this question. I've got some other questions that I will answer offline, guys. But being respectful of Brandon's time, Jason was asking for his team. They wanted to hear what you would say if you get the response, I already have life insurance.
Oh man! All right, I'll give you an exact example. Okay.
Or let me even modify that a little bit, Brandon. Is this just? I want that one handled too, but I misread the question a little bit. The first part is this just like life insurance?
Well, if somebody says that to me, and I will, and I'll address both of those in the same thing. So if someone says that it's just life insurance, I'll be like, well, it pays money to you if you die, so I guess we could call it, definitely could call it life insurance. Because that's what life insurance is, right? And then I just kind of mess with them on that. You know what I mean? I'd be like, or I may say, hey, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by is it just life insurance? Because it is insurance on your life, yes. But this is a program that's specifically designed for people with mortgages. And like, for example, on Home Protector, or whatever the product is in the state you're in, you can't get that without a mortgage. So, I say, hey, you can't even get this without a mortgage. So that's what kind of flips the script and makes them adjust their mindset. You know what I'm saying? Because that is a very common question. And then to go on beyond that, and just so you know, Kim, I'm good on time, so I'll answer these questions for you.
Thank you.
So let me give you a real live example. I went and sat down with a lawyer the other day, okay? And as you guys probably already know, he was pretty arrogant and thought he was the man, and that's cool. I think I'm the man too. So he had $1 million in coverage, okay? And you already know that people that have $1 million in coverage think that they have the world covered, that nothing bad can happen to them, okay? So I'm sitting down, he's in a $330,000 mortgage, okay? And I sit down with him, and he's already being kind of weird to me, and he's like, I have $1 million in coverage. And I was like, cool, man, why don't you grab that, pull it out for me real quick, that policy, because usually it's not what they think it is. But it was, and I said, man, good job. And so I went down the path with him a little ways, and I said, hey, man, how much money do you make? And he was like, oh, I'm not telling you. And this is literally what I said to him. I said, well, it must not be that much then. And because he wouldn't make a lot of money, I'm not telling him how much they make. Okay, and so that offended him. It did. Well, listen, I didn't say it in a disrespectful way. I want to point that out. I was just joking with him. All right, he knew I was just joking. And I said, well, I'm just going to guess you probably make $100,000 a year, man. I was like, you look real successful. You look smart. Probably just $100,000 a year. And he was like, it's $150,000. And I was like, okay, cool. So I wrote $1 million at the top of the paper, okay, in big old numbers, okay. And so I said, all right, so Jeffrey, listen, if something happens, you don't make it home from work tomorrow, this is what happens. This is what it looks like. So I subtracted $330,000 from the million. That left us $670,000. All right, and then I said, all right, and his wife didn't work, and he had an 8-month-old son. So then I started subtracting, I divided $150,000 a year into that $630,000, okay, which came up with a little bit over 4.5 years. She was 28 years old, okay. I said, and then so I subtracted the 4.5 years of income replacement. All right, and then we were down at zero. And I looked at him right in his face and I said, okay, so let me get this straight. You've got $1 million. All right, so now we've paid the mortgage off. Okay, and then your wife and your 8-month-old son are still sitting here in the house. And now you've given them the same income that you're bringing in right now for the next 4.5 years. And I looked at him right in his face. I said, Jeffrey, did you sign up to take care of your wife just until she was 32 years old?
I love it.
Yeah, and then you know what he did? He bought $330,000 worth of protection. So, and that's a real life example, man. People, listen, you have to spend that. They think that they got $200,000, they got the world covered. Spend it. That ain't that much money when we're talking about going years down the road. And I got a little bit deeper with him. I said, did you just sign up to take care of your wife till you're 32? I was like, you don't want another man running around your raising your youngin' now, do you? And so So, but hey, man, he needed that because, like Tim, like you said, you have to save people from themselves sometimes. You know, they don't know any better. You have to save them. So that's what I did for Jeffrey that day. Save him. And hopefully he'd save me if I need something for him.
I think, yeah, there you go. I think the our next call with you, I've got to put a title on it. How long did you sign up to take care of your wife? Is it just for 3 years or 4 years after you died, or can we try to take care of this business now? Brandon, you've been very generous with your time. Thank you so much, my friend. And you're just going to continue to kill it, and you'll be down at in Meridian for the kind of Christmas celebration there in December, won't you?
Yes, sir. I absolutely will. I can't wait.
Fantastic. I look forward to meeting up with you then again, my friend. Appreciate you in a big way, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the opportunity, man. You have a good day, Tim.
You too. God bless you. Guys, that's Brandon Lewis. That's Brandon in a very, very real way, and he's out making it happen. These are the type of persons that I want to expose you to. These are the agents who are out there who are writing business and also building a team. So even if you are 3 or 4 in depth with your agency manager that you're working with, he wants you to go out and build a team. And you can do that. Prove yourself in the field a little bit. Go out and show that you are a leader in this business. Take our leads. Take and you'll get one of the from today's call. I'll send you out a concise list of persons and companies that we use for our leads. If we don't, Gordon Marketing, if we can't coordinate a what we call a fresh lead for your market, it doesn't matter where you get the leads. It doesn't affect me if you don't buy a lead from us. It was a losing proposition in 2015, and we probably were hoping we're going to at least break even in 2017. The leads are irrelevant for us. What I want you to do is go and sit in front of someone. No matter how you got that lead, what I call response form, whether it's from Melco or Leadco or from Gordon Marketing, our joint ventures with lead companies out here, with Main Street Power Mail House. It doesn't matter. What matters is that you are sitting in front of somebody who sent in a lead like this, and they're asking for help. And if it's on the mortgage protection side, then run with it. If you are interested on the federal side, make sure you connect 1 o'clock on Monday, and we're going to go over the next steps for the federal program. This next Tuesday, you're going to see a live webinar with me sitting in front of a couple persons going through the steps that you just heard from Brandon. A week from today, we're going to be able to listen to Mark Huber. Mark has been very successful in the mortgage protection program. He has, for these last few weeks, in the last 30 days, he's put up over $30,000 in the federal program. So that's a week from today. 3 directives that I want to leave you with. Directive number 1, I want you to be an agent who makes it happen for your income. Blow up your income. And we say that in an endearing way. I want you to go and increase your income exponentially. Didn't get into a lot of specifics, but 3 years ago, Brandon made less than $40,000 in this business. 3 years ago. Last year, he was over $230,000 in this business, guys. It can be done. Straight up, it can be done. The bulk of that was on his pen, and the rest of it was on his team. This year, he's done very little production, and he'll make more this year by building a team. It can be done, guys. Number 2 directive is make it happen. Be an agent who's making it happen for your family. Whether that is your family that you have 2 pets, whether that's your family in the future if you're a single person, or if you're a spouse. Make it happen for your spouse. My wife, she's the queen of the house. No, she doesn't have to work. You know, we're blessed in a way that she's a stay-at-home mom for our 9-year-old. Our 9-year-old who I'm making it happen so I can put her in the private school that I wanted her to be in. I'm making it happen so we can be in one of the safest neighborhoods in all of the state of Indiana. I'm making it happen, taking care of my family by being the best tither in my church. That's my goal, and you know that. I've shared that with you before with 9,000 members in our church. That's a pretty lofty goal. I'm not there yet, but I will get there, guys, because of my work ethic, because I'm being an agent who's making it happen for my family, for my church, for my charity. And number 3, and I'll leave you with this, be an agent who's making it happen for that family who sent in this, for that family who sent in a request for you to talk to them about their federal benefits. Be an agent who's making it happen for that family, for mortgage protection, for that employee in the federal employment, in the federal government. Have a great weekend. Go with God's blessing.